from scratch fudge is the type of recipe that gets passed down from one generation to the next. But if you didn't learn how to make it from your mom, getting the texture right can be a bit tricky. When you make fudge from scratch, you can end up with a grainy texture or a fudge that's too firm or too soft. Well, arm yourself with a candy thermometer and a little know-how to prevent sugar crystals from forming, and your fudge will turn out perfect every time. The technique for making fudge is simple. You boil together sugar, heavy cream, and chocolate, let the mixture cool, and then you beat it until you reach the right consistency. As the mixture cools, the melted sugar begins to recrystallize. You want to keep those sugar crystals small. That'll give you a nice smooth fudge. A grainy texture occurs when those sugar crystals form too early or they get too large in the process. So I'm starting out with a saucepan here. I'm going to add my sugar, chocolate, heavy cream, and salt. I'm also going to add some corn syrup. This is going to help prevent the sugar crystals from forming too early. So I'm just going to stir all this together until it's all nice combined. Okay, now I'm going to put this over medium heat, and I'm going to stir gently until it comes to a boil. Another thing that can cause the fudge to crystallize is coming into contact with any stray sugar crystals on the side of the pot. So now that this is boiling, I'm going to put the lid on and cook it for 2 minutes with the lid on. This is going to trap the steam inside of the pot, which will wash down the sides. Next, I'm going to put my thermometer in the pot, but first I'm just going to rub the face of it with some softened butter. This will prevent any sugar crystals from forming on the thermometer. All right, it's been boiling for 2 minutes with the lid on. So now I'm just going to remove the lid and put in my candy thermometer. Just clip it in. You want to make sure that the thermometer doesn't touch the bottom of the pot. And I'm going to boil this until it reaches the softball stage. That's 236 to 238 degrees Fahrenheit. This is when the sugar will be at the right concentration. If you boil it any lower, your fudge will set up too soft, and if you boil it any higher, your fudge will be too firm. Perfect, so this has reached the softball stage. So at this point, I'm just going to remove the pan from the heat, and I'm going to add my butter. Now, it might seem odd, but I'm not going to stir in the butter at this point. In fact, you want to disturb the pot as little as you can, because guess what? If you disturb the pot, you could cause sugar crystals to form too early. So I'm just going to let this sit until it cools to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll take about an hour to an hour and a half. While my fudge cools, I'm going to line my 8 by 8 inch baking pan with aluminum foil. You'll notice that I'm leaving plenty of overhang here. That's going to make it really easy to pull out the fudge once it's done. I'm also going to rub the bottom of the foil with a little bit of softened butter. This will help to release the fudge later on. All right, it's at 110 degrees, so now it's time to beat the fudge. If you let it cool any longer, it'll start to set up right in the pan and be too thick to beat. So just remove the thermometer. I'm going to beat this on high speed for 10 to 20 minutes. As I'm beating, the sugar is crystallizing into many small crystals. I'm looking for the fudge to get a shade lighter in color, and I'll know it's done when the ripples are firm enough that the beater exposes the bottom of the pan for just a second. Now I'm going to transfer the fudge into my prepared pan. It's okay to scrape the bottom of the pan, but you don't want to scrape the sides. Any sugar crystals that might have formed along the sides of the pan, you want to keep those in the pan and not in your fudge. Now you just want to smooth the top with a spatula. Okay, now you want to let this cool for at least 2 hours before cutting, but if you let it cool overnight, it'll be even easier to cut. Once your fudge is cool, you can just pull it right out of the pan and then invert it onto a cutting board. Now just peel back that foil. And the fudge is ready to cut. Okay, I have to check the texture. Perfectly smooth and not the least bit grainy. You're gonna love this recipe.